We'll be back in just a moment. So the the Tundra Elf comes down, and after he's got the horses taken care of, sits down with you. Pretty much, this is a very small table, compared to his very large size. I mean, it's sort of basically just kind of a working table, a work table there in the smithy. And he says, "My name is Uilgoria."
My name is Calathian.
"How long have you been away from the Soul Sioux?"
About 2 years now, 2.5.
"So you recently completed."
Yes, and I didn't want to leave, but I was called and had to go. Um,
Sometimes that is what occurs to all of us. I was much the same. After my threshold, I did not make it to the top first, so Star's path was chosen for me.
so why are you here in this place? I can't imagine wanting to be in a place like this. I mean, we spend our lives in harmony with the world around us, and a place like this is imposed on the world. It's carved into it by outside means, and it just feels so wrong. Why would you come here and stay here? I don't understand.
He stands up for a second, and he walks over and puts up a little sign on the outside, um, and says, "Follow me." And you see there's a sort of behind the hearth. You see a door that slides to the side, and he steps in. It's a small antechamber, and you see him take off his shoes and sort of motions for you to do the same. I assume you do.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
It's frankly a relief.
Yeah. And he opens up another sliding door. This one almost seems translucent, like it's parchment, in fact, as it slides to the side. And you see before you a room that is, as you follow him in, his form blocking out a lot of it until he sort of steps to the side towards one of the side walls. It's so impossibly different from the smithing, you can't even hardly imagine that it's the same building or within the same building. There is sort of these smooth walls that have sort of bamboo thin columns between the sections and the panels of the walls. The floor is made up of sort of a fibrous material, but not laying flat. Actually, it's been cut short vertically, so it kind of, prickles your feet almost as you step on it. There is a low table in the center of it made of beautiful polished wood, but it's fairly large for this room. But the interesting thing that catches your eyes, there's parts of it that seem as though they've been burned and then polished. The charcoal has been polished smooth, and there's other places that seem as though almost it's been frostbitten, but those have been polished. So you have this sort of normal harvested wood, but then also these sort of frostbitten areas and these burned areas as well. There's sort of strange windows in the room because they don't necessarily lead outside. They actually lead to sort of illuminated alcoves that sort of give this room this very gentle, soothing light. And it seems as though the windows, while giving light, they also have been positioned to specifically catch sort of the breeze of the Dragon Gust Plain so that it flows through this room in just this sort of very soothing, calming, cool place. His large form is, blocking one of the walls, but you see him sort of around his shoulder a large piece of granite standing there. And as he places his hand on it, you see it sort of becomes covered, or from his hand emanates almost frost covering it. And as he steps back, you see that within the piece of granite is a Moril'tha tree growing from a crack in its center. And he looks at you and he goes, "The truth is truly lost to history. But my people believe that we were the first tribe that brewed the leaves of the Moril'tha. There's a tree on the face of Maiden Sword that is known to be older than my people itself. From the dawn of our people during the night winter, this tree was already ancient. Many people think that the Moril'tha can only grow in the fjords. While it is true, they can only germinate there and become stable tree there. Once it has grown its roots and fallen to its new home, it can live most anywhere. Me, my people, we have a rite of passage to climb the Maiden Sword, a cliff that towers far above even the cliffs of the Sol Su. Those who arrive at the top first get to choose their path. Those who do not have their path chosen for them. Me, I was looking to stay, but Star's path was chosen for me. I was upset and decided, being young and stubborn, that I needed something to take with me, a part of my home to take with me. Now, this isn't unknown to our people, to take a piece of the mountain with a Moril'tha tree in it elsewhere. In fact, it's most likely how the Sol Su first learned to cultivate it was one of our people who took Star's path out of the village and settled there, someplace close, teaching others our ways back in the darkness of history. I took it, not knowing the lesson of the Moril'tha, not really learning it, thought I had learned. Outsiders, they've tried before. They've tried to take a Moril'tha tree, gently uproot it from its home, place it in soil, give it all the care they can, but it dies, always, because they don't understand the lesson of the Moril'tha. It isn't just a tree. It's an interdependent community in of itself, and the organisms that held it while it rerooted itself become a part of that tree. No two Moril'tha are the same, because when it is most exposed, when its roots are no longer in the soil, when it's most vulnerable after it has fallen, those other plants, those other organisms, the lichen, the grasses, the mosses, hold it while it finds its true home. I carried this cliffside with me because I thought I had to remember my home. I had to have something. But I hadn't learned the lesson. You have to believe in those around you. You have to believe in what holds you when you're most exposed. Keep them close. Make them a part of you. And once you root with those organisms, you can root and grow anywhere.
What happened to help you finally learn the lesson yourself?
I discovered friends. I realized that separating myself and trying to reach back to the sandy soil of my youth was folly. It was out of my reach. I had to trust, and learned, like the lichen, how to grab to stone, like the grasses, how to bend in the wind, like the mosses, to cling to what you can. Those things you have to learn being far from the easy, sandy soil of your youth. This now is my reminder of that. To trust, to learn, to become stronger for taking on the attributes of those who will hold you when you are most vulnerable. Go ahead.
We're standing in this back room.
And yes, and at this point, he does motion. There is an ancient formal tea set, and he nods to you and begins a ritual. And with that, we'll, unless you have something to say, we can fade before that starts.
I will simply say, thank you for telling me your story.
I one day hope to hear yours.
Thank you for not that it was any of your doing, but thank you for being here in a place that I have no desire to be, and showing me that there's more that I have to learn as well. And I will turn towards the tree for a moment. And do what I remember, and touch my heart, touch press my hands above my groin, bring my arms out to the sides, and then up to the head, and do the bow.
Mm-hmm.
And then turn back to him to begin the ceremony.
As you know, it is a difficult time for the Moril'tha after the fall. You may use this as a sanctuary if you ever need. Consider it a place for you to remember the lessons of the Moril'tha. And the ritual begins. With that, let's let people know. Oop, that's private. Let's go to everyone.